On Monday, February 25th, 2019, our building caught on fire twice. Our apartments became unlivable, and we want to talk about what we went through and what it took for us to return back to our apartments.
On the February 25th, I went to the doctor. On my way back, I seen Gail. She told me the building was on fire. And then when I was walking out, I noticed that it was my building that was on fire. Now I was in shock. I remember the building because I've been in the building since 1983.
I got a call at work when this happened, and I thought it's like nothing, but when you get there, the streets were blocked off. It's like reality start kicking in. You're watching at people who were coming to support you, and you didn't realize how bad it was until everybody started talking about it, and then they told us we couldn't go back in.
They sent us to the hotel. We've been over there. They take us from the hotel to the Bronx. It's just like from up to down, down to up. We don't have anything staying in the house. Everything is gone. Everything is gone.
Everyone was running around like a chicken with their head cut off. No one knew what the next step was. This was my first time organizing a building that was in such dire need.
My apartment was water soaked, totally water. It was like a pool. And just think about the furniture, your bed, everything was soaked. And then it turned to the fungus and stuff. So you couldn't take anything, so you lost everything.
My room was destroyed. I left everything in the living room.
When I come in, vini.
When I came back, everything was gone.
I handed over my keys to the super, and when I actually got to have access to go in, most of my things were gone. There were a lot of things that were stolen in my apartment.
Whether it was the demolition crew, the super, whoever it was, they took whatever they could possibly take. I lost a lot of stuff. I had jewelry in between my dresses. It's funny that the clothes was there, but the jewelry was gone. So I don't know, the water took it. It melted from the water. So that means people were basically going through bit by bit and was searching everyone, all the 18 apartment stuff, and taking what they could take.
I spent a year and 10 months outside. I thought we were going to come right back.
Yes.
But it wasn't the case.
1 year, 9 months.
1 year and 9 months.
I moved from New York, go back home, because I cannot feel the type of problem I get through. So, from Haiti, because there's too much trouble.
A fire started due to old wirings in the building. It was not caused by a tenant, and yet it seemed like you guys were being penalized for something that had nothing to do with you guys.
From 2016, I needed a lot of repairs. There were a lot of things that weren't fixed, weren't up to code and up to par in my apartment. I had him in court from 2016, and nothing was ever done in my apartment.
What's frustrating is when you see that the system itself is rigged. And I say that because the fire report showed that there was previous code violations, pre-existing situations with the apartment long before the fire that led up to the fire. And I heard a conversation between the fire marshal telling the landlord, if you don't fix this, you can possibly be fined or even go to prison because this is serious.
I guess he got tired of finding other ways to try to get us out, and this was like the extreme, and he really thought that we weren't coming back.
One of the things I told the landlord the next day is that if he was living in the building, this would have never happened.
I wasn't being heard for 4 years while I was in court with him, and I took the opportunity to join myself with my neighbors to be able to be heard this time around. I decided that I didn't want to let my apartment go. They were trying to do anything to evict me and get me out of my apartment.
Porque yo todas las reuniones que yo hacía, yo salía de trabajo temprano y me iba donde yo estaba.
I participated in every meeting, in every discussion that had to do with the building. I left work early in order to be able to go to every meeting and have my voice being heard.
Y ahí me introducí con ellos, entonces ahí nos pusimos en serio a luchar y a la corte.
I met everyone there and we all made an agreement to get serious about this issue and to go to court.
When I first met Sabrina, I was very discouraged. I said to myself, this is a waste of time because I'm not new to the court system. My mother and I have gone to court against the same landlord. And I just thought, what's the point? Because the court is going to give them preference. They're going to get away with it. We're going to be protesting and it's going to be the same thing.
For me, I know I'm going back to my apartment. Even at my daughter's house, you know. She said, you will stay here for 2 years. I said, no, I'm going back. Yeah, I know I'm going back. That New Jersey, you have to get car, c'est pour get machine,
New Jersey,
c'est pour booking train, bus. Easy. Taxi.
We had in our minds not to give up. We're gonna stand up. We're gonna fight. It's hard, but we're gonna fight. That's the only way. And any information we got, we just keep passing it on to each other. Because power, it's like a chain.
What really inspired me was what our ancestors had to go through for us to get to where we are now. And I said, I can't just give up. You don't get anything without fighting. We're not fighting just the landlords. It's a system of classism intertwined with systemic racism, and it's deeply institutional. So it's a legacy of those who are wealthy elite doing things for their benefit at other people's expense.
Just holding on to each other, I think that's where we got the power, we got the strength, because we were all going through the same thing. And even though we were, some lost more than others, we all lost. Bottom line, we all lost something.
These innocent people have nowhere to go. We would just go to court. The judge will see the obvious and do what I assume to be the obvious. I was taken back by how difficult the journey was going to be.
The court system was working for him when they told his lawyers that our situation was not an emergency. And I think that's when they got a lot of power. And they realized, oh, we could win this fight because it's not an emergency.
It wasn't an emergency, but yet there were 18 people homeless in the street.
The judge kept granting the landlord so many extensions. We kept getting so many different dates about when it would be done. Then landlord's defense was the work wasn't being done because the city was stopping it. His hands were tied. But the reason the city was stopping it because they found that he was using unlicensed contractors, he was using poor materials, and it would pose a greater problem. So they had to stop it and get him on task to do it properly.
I knew I was gonna come back regardless.
Chaque jour, next month, l'autre mois, l'autre mois, vini là,
They keep
l'autre mois,
saying next
vini
month,
là.
next month, they keep stalling us.
During the whole time, people's lives are at stake because people are living in basements, sleeping in different beds, they're spending money, and none of that money is going to be paid back because the landlord got his share in terms of the insurance. And what was more important was fixing the apartment to get people out, to raise the rent so he can make more money off of the situation.
That first day in court when we were in the back room, and you all had prepared to testify, remember? And, we worked on your testimonies, we practiced it, and everyone went to court that morning, and we were told that they presented a deal, and the deal was that if you guys don't testify, you would return home the following month. And as skeptical as each and every single one of you were, we were advised by the attorneys that it would be the only way to have something on paper that signed, that, saying, like, basically to hold them accountable because it'll be on paper that they presented this deal. However, that meant you guys can't testify. The room felt heavy, the air felt thick. I had to excuse myself because the emotions took over, and I had to step into the hallway because I broke into tears. I have never witnessed something like this. Till this day, you guys never got to testify. A judge never got to hear your story from your mouths. I've spoken to tenants where, if we can do it again, they wouldn't have accepted the deal that day. Because there was no repercussions to the fact that they didn't get to move in until over a year later when it was supposed to be the following month. So when we're talking about a message to the community, systemically, it's wrong.
I want my community to know we need to come together more. We need to be more united. Because he did this once, he will try to get us out again. Whether that be a damage in your apartment, whether that be something that needs to be repaired or fixed, we need to stick together as tenants, as one, and speak up about it.
Change doesn't come quietly. You have to be loud. You have to be disruptive. You have to be vocal. It's not gonna come sitting down because you're taking away the power and the privilege of people who benefit. So it's to their benefit for you to be quiet, to be scared.
If I have to help anyone go through what I have gone through, I would stand up. I will go and speak out for you. I am not going to stop because this is not about me. It's about the future generation, because if they could do it to me and they could do it to us, they could do it to others.
I'm proud that even though you were fighting to return home, some of you also, like Sunday, joined the fight to change the laws altogether. So you were in 2 courts at once, going up to Albany trying to change the housing laws that oppressed us while fighting to return home. That shows amazing power, the fact that you guys are back home after everything that you guys been through. I'm proud to have been your organizer.
It takes a village. And because of all of us coming together, starting off with Flatbush Tenant Coalition, the lawyers, that's what brought us back into our apartments. It's not the best, everything is not perfect the way we want it to be, but at least we're back. And that alone could show that the landlord that, hey, we hold the power. We showed it to them.